It's like a stock market for racehorses. Morningline.io. Horse racing fans, are you ready to own the moment? Get closer to the action. Now every race means more. Buy, sell, trade. Own the game. Get started at morningline.io.
Hi everyone, Ashley Mailloux here with the Tuesday race of the day. We'll head out to Assiniboia Downs with their 7-race program, but they do have a couple of stakes races, and we're going to focus in on one of those. Race number 5, it's the Free Press at 6 furlongs, $50,000 on the line, and it's for 3-year-olds and upward. It's an interesting group. We have a lot of horses exiting the Bow Blade as we take a look at the names here for this field of 8, but we also have some fresh faces coming to Assiniboia for the first time, or maybe horses that were sort of getting used to their new barns and getting used to Assiniboia Downs in just a limited number of starts. So don't forget, free past performances. You can download those now, and we can go through this race together, kicking it off with the number 1, Frosty Blue, who is a huge price on the morning line. Made his first appearance at Assiniboia in the Bow Blade and just never got going. And looking at him historically, I just feel like he might be a horse that we want to look forward to around 2 turns, especially the form down at Delta and the fairgrounds. We always talk about Delta. The configuration is not your standard configuration. So I do think he's going to benefit from an added turn and distance. And I just feel like he was outrun by so many last time out that I don't know what's going to make the difference, except for maybe second time in the barn, second off the freshening. So for me, I'll wait and see Frosty Blue, hopefully in a route down the road. The number 2, Dreaming of Kona. He took some respect in the Bow Blade, and I thought he ran fine. I wanted to see a little bit more. I don't feel like he's really progressed in those last 2, and it's a little bit of a concern for me. I mean, GT 500, the horse that beat him in the Thorncliffe, very respectable horse who I believe had some success this winter at Turfway Park. I guess I just kind of wanted more from him based on the Tampa performances, and I realized he wasn't winning those races, but he was second behind Madhouse, who ended up going on to win the Grade 3 Count Fleet Sprint Handicap down at Oaklawn Park with a 102 buyer, and he was second. And I just thought that we would see a little bit more, thought, hey, maybe getting out of Woodbine and getting back on the dirt, he would take a step forward, and he ran okay. He needs to take a step forward. Maybe another start in this barn will help him, another start over this track, potentially the added distance as well, going from 5.5 to 6. But for me, I just view him as maybe getting a minor share rather than the top spot. The 3, Kawaii Dan here, goes out for Jared Brown, a horse that comes in from Turf Paradise, and has been third in those last 2. So was able to win 3 starts back, did it very impressively, going 6.5, and then more recently, back-to-back third-place finishes, but completely different trips. In the race 2 back at the end of February, I mean, they were just blazing early, and he couldn't keep up, so he rolled from off of it, but who won it? Mission Beach, who he has to face again on Tuesday. And then, in his following start, that Allowance, he was able to be forward, and he battled it all the way through that 6 furlong race and came up a neck short. So I do give him a lot of credit for that performance. I do think in here, probably be more towards the back, maybe at best mid-pack, and a horse that I could see getting a piece, but I do want to see how he performs out at Assiniboia. The 4, I've mentioned his name already, that's Mission Beach, who is a horse that's been able to win 2 in a row, will try to make it 3 in a row in his Assiniboia Downs debut. We'll take a look back at his race at Prairie Meadows, and he got a beautiful trip in here. I know he was favored, but he also had to battle and was just really hardy to the wire. I mean, he dug in deep when he needed to win by a head. I thought that was a really nice performance from him because he did win before that by 4 out at Turf Paradise, and then he went to Prairie Meadows. A horse that there's obviously been some talent in the past. He's been in some tough spots. In the beginning, he was able to win on debut, found himself in the hopeful, even some tough allowance optional claim events at Santa Anita back in 2024 and early 2025. So he does have a ton of black class. I think he comes in here with a lot of confidence. Nice to see a strong buyer posted last time out. And I think for him, 6 furlongs is perfect. He is quick enough that he could get a forward trip in here, and time form suggests that he could be mid-pack. I actually think if they wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, they could be. So he'll take a lot of respect in here. He is 9-5 on the morning line. The 5, Bergheim, We're a big fan of Bergheim here on the DRF social channels because he scored a massive upset on our Tuesday race of the day when it was the Beau Blade. We'll take a look at that performance, and it really came down to getting a little added distance and being a little bit more involved. And I thought the rider gave him a beautiful trip to use him a little bit more to get that position. He didn't have to, work so hard like he did in that allowance optional claiming event, and love that he was able to win by a length. I think for him, he's 12 to 1 on the morning line. I don't think he should be 12 to 1 on Tuesday. I think he'll be a much shorter price than that. He's done nothing wrong in those two starts, and now you're getting to 6 furlongs. I feel like this gets even a little bit better for him, the added distance once again. So no knocks on him. I do think he's going to be tough, especially just being able to defeat these rivals last time out in the Beau Blade. And trip-wise, again, I think the rider has to make a decision. I think like a horse like Mission Beach to your inside, you might want to sit just off of him because he's probably, I shouldn't say probably, he is quicker than Bergheim. But I think, to have that horse and be able to maybe follow that path could be helpful. The 6 Dominant Spirit was 5th in the Beau Blade. Prior to that was 3rd at the end of May out at Legacy Downs, and was tough to sort of read his form. I mean, at Lone Star, he popped a huge figure, but it was on a wet track, and I kind of look at him. I know, he's a 4-time winner, and he's been able to do it over a fast track, but I also think he's a little bit of a fish in some ways, and I do think he needs to get forward position. I do think he'll be able to do so here, but just knowing that it didn't work out for him in the Beau Blade, I have some reservations about him, but he should offer good value. The 7 What's Shaking goes out for the Cindy Krasner barn, fresh off a win, and this was a horse that I'll be honest, I couldn't get to in my top 4, but I really wanted to use him because I do find him to be a type that is getting better, and I think looking at him last time out at 6 furlongs, a lot of folks probably thought, well, yes, he can go that distance, but he seemed to get really good in August and July of last year, going a mile and a 16th. And to know that he was able to run so well off a lengthy layoff at a distance that maybe isn't his preferred distance, I think that speaks to a little bit of his ability. The buyer isn't as competitive as others in here, but he has been able to post numbers that would make him competitive. So I think he should be at least a horse to consider, and definitely watch the tote board on Tuesday. I think if he's around 8 to 1, he's very good value. We'll round out the field with the 8 CPG, who is the runner-up behind Bergheim in the Beau Blade. And listen, he's got early foot. He showed that down at Oaklawn Park in spots that, he tried to kind of chase the pace, was unable to do so, and finished 3rd. They were bad efforts. He won his first race here at 5 furlongs. He was 2nd in the Beau Blade, going 5.5. I think he's a major horse from a pace presence in here, especially with the outside draw, and time form agrees with that. But I think the big thing with him is 6 furlongs what he needs, because I do think it could be pushing the envelope a little bit in terms of distance, and we did see that slightly last time out in the Beau Blade. So a must-use for me underneath in the exotics, but a little tough to use on the top spot. So a field of 8 here in the free press. We'll move to my top selections, and probably not shocking that I go to Bergheim. I loved him last time out. He sort of got the dream trip, everything that I wanted to see, and did that at the 5.5 furlong distance. And I've said every time that we've talked about him that I think he wants to go a little bit further. 6.5 might be the perfect distance. So with him getting to 6 furlongs in the free press, I will use him on top. I will use horses such as the 4 Mission Beach underneath. We don't really know what we're going to get from him, but obviously his last 2 wins have been very impressive. The 8 CPG, from a pace perspective, it makes a lot of sense. And then the 2 Dreaming of Kona. Maybe we haven't seen his best yet. Maybe it's just around the corner. Couldn't use him too high up, so I will use him underneath. So we'll see if Bergheim can make it 2 in a row in the free press this Tuesday out at Assiniboia Downs. Let me know who you like. Drop me a comment. And as always, best of luck.